What is up guys, and welcome for another amazing build for Wulong. What you guys are looking at is one of the most powerful armor sets in the game. It's using the Grace armor pieces, so they're pretty hard to get a hold of. But once you do have them set up, it's well worth it, and this one is probably the best one of them all. It's the only one which has a really unique ability, and that's the subtlety of the water phase. So what it does is that if your water virtue is over 70, then you can use this ability every time you perform a fatal strike. So every time on a fatal strike, you'll get an ability activated that will allow you to use anything that will usually cost you spirit for absolutely free. So anything that usually costs spirit will now cost you nothing. This is how we can spam spells and abilities endlessly for a short duration. Taking out the bigger enemies and especially humans becomes super easy. With the abilities that we have, we can put them in a full stun lock. Well, almost. If the human has super armor, it won't work, like Lubu and this other lightning guy. But everyone else, it works great. If you can corner them off, it's basically an easy kill. There's still this annoying bug where if you hit those humans too much when they get their spirit broken, they'll come out of their stone state and you can't perform that fatal strike. I really hope that this gets fixed. It only seems to happen on those pesky human bosses and nothing else. Still, you can really go crazy with how you want to play with this set. You can go full berserk and spam spells endlessly. If you like more of the defensive playstyle, you can use all your abilities without having to worry about running out of spirit. For this build, I went with a mixture of both, where you can spam some really good spells while also being a real tank, both defensive and offensive playstyle. That way I don't have to worry about dying or making sure you must always block and counter. I can easily just go in and kill everything quickly. Breaking the bosses is not difficult at all, especially with the weapon, and the spells that we are using kills mostly everything within the first or the second fatal strike. After a fatal strike, you can literally break them again before they can even do anything. The mobs and even some of the bigger enemies don't even last more than one fatal strike, as the follow-up is just way too strong. Regardless of what you may be going for, cause remember, spells in your water virtue are the strongest in the game anyway. By no means is this the strongest set in the game, but it sure is one of the most fun to use, so let's get right into the build. So as you know, we are using the armor set, which is the Grace of the Black Emperor. There is no real enemy or particular place where you can get these pieces. I farmed the monkey in part 2 with a high luck build to get my hands on these Grace armor pieces. If you are not sure on how you can get these strong armor sets, I do recommend that you check out this video from a fellow YouTuber who made a really good luck build that should help you with getting your hands on the 5-star gear pieces. It's a great video going over everything to farm and what items that you will need to use in order to get the best gear possible. You will need 6 pieces altogether to be able to use all the abilities of this armor set. For the best setup, we add in 2 ranged weapons as they will count towards the set bonus, and then try to get all armor pieces with the set. They can come on weapons as well, but try to keep one weapon slot free to use whatever you like. As you may know, the guiding blade is the best weapon for breaking spirit bars, but you don't have to use this weapon at all. Choose whatever you like or whatever weapon that you get with the set bonus. On my weapon, I have gotten lightning enchant. This will also make all of our attacks inflict lightning onto the enemies. This is the best way to have them build up their spirit bars so we can break them easily. We also have inflict spirit vulnerability whenever we attack the enemies with our martial arts. This once again will have them take increased spirit damage with all of our attacks. On our gear pieces, there may be some stats that could be locked from your gear itself, but for the remaining stats, you should get ice attack power and stone attack power. This will greatly increase the damage of all of your water and earth spells. If you plan on using any of the other virtues and their spells, feel free to swap out any of the attack powers with whatever you may choose to use, whether it's fire, lightning or toxin. Some other stats that you should consider getting are damage to enemies with negative effects, or even wizardry spell damage, or what I like to use is a divine beast gauge gain. This stat is amazing, and when you pair it with your inner breath spell, you can get your divine beast charged up super quickly. The fastest way to charge your beast is with fatal strikes and spells. And since you'll be spamming spells a lot and doing a lot of fatal strikes, you can charge up your beast fully in just 2 fatal strikes, which is just insane. As for what beast you would want to use, it's clearly up to you. I like to change it up and use all of them, but the best one for this build is once again the snake, as it will give you bonus spirit damage to enemies with negative effects, as well as inflicting power drop with the wizardry spells. Now for accessory is where the big healing perk of mine lies. I get a lot of healing through my accessories. I have Restore HP, which will basically increase all of our healing altogether. Then we have HP Restoration on melee attack damage. On its own, it's not all that strong, But with the Absorb Vitality skill active with it, it's actually really good. Especially when performing fatal strikes, we can regain a lot of HP with this. Then on my other accessory is where the bigger healing perk is. That is the HP restoration on a wizardry spell. This is so strong and does a tremendous amount of healing on its own. And even better when you pair it with the Absorb Vitality skill, you can go from completely being dead to full HP within just a few spells. Now it's actually deceiving when it says that you gain health based on your spell damage. As you can see here, I'm using my ice skill and it's doing absolutely zero damage to this boss, but I'm still able to get healing from it. So I'm not sure if it's a set amount that we get healed from these wizard spells, or whether it's actually based on damage dealt. Cause if it was based on damage, it shouldn't be getting healed at all. Nonetheless, this perk gives you a lot of healing. Since we have infinite spirit after a fatal strike, we can spam our spells and not only do amazing damage, but also heal us entirely. Now to go over our stats and our virtue points, we need to make sure we have 70 in water, so don't change that at all. For the remaining, I have put 40 on earth, so we can use every single spell from the earth's virtue, while also increasing the damage overall. Then for the remainder of your points, we go into the wood virtue. Not only can we use all of our wood spells, which are all of our lightning stuff, but the wood will greatly increase in max HP. So it's a great option for survivability as we gain so much healing from our spells and fatal strikes, as the more HP we have, the more damage we can take. This is just how I set up my virtue points for most of this build. If you want to use any of the other spells and abilities in the game, feel free to change your skill points to whatever virtue you might like to use. As for the spells, go for whatever you like. I like to have at least 1 or 2 offensive spells and defensive spells. What worked best for me is the Absorb Vitality skill, which gave me more healing on top of what I already have over my accessories. It's a great skill. I hated this skill at first in my original playthrough, but it's amazing in New Game Plus. Then we have Inner Breath. This will increase how fast we can use our Divine Spirit. As I mentioned before, with this skill and the stats that we have on our gear, we can get our Divine Beast charged up in just about 2 fatal strikes, which is pretty good. Then for my 2 offensive spells, I have Imposing Stab. This does great damage and is the best to use straight after a fatal strike. You can spam it many times before you run out of time on your infinite spirit. It's amazing against all enemies, both humans and monsters. You can put the humans in a near perfect lock if you lure them into the edge of the arena or the corner. They won't be able to escape those rock pillars. It is just that good. For my second skill, we have the Ominous Chill. This is still the strongest skill in the game. It can be very hard to use as you do need to time it properly against the small enemies, but against the larger enemies it's really good, as they can be hit by almost all of those ice shards for some insane damage. And that is it for all of our gear stats and spells. It's really amazing, especially for someone like me who is not much of a passive or slow player. I like to keep moving and attacking as much as I can. I don't really like to sit back and wait for the bosses to attack and then deflecting them to get an opening. I just like to bash my way through and hope for the best. Even if you just have that one healing skill on and the rest be offensive skills, there is still no way you can die. You have such crazy healing that you can keep spamming spells and stay alive the whole time. Just hit them once and then your spell. Hit them once again and then straight away into your spell again. You can feel so powerful with the setup. For the human bosses, those earth pillars are more than enough. Use them whenever you can and as much as you can. It will stagger any approaching enemy and even bosses. If you can nail those bosses into a corner, they'll be unable to do anything at all. Those pillars will have them completely locked up in their place. This is an incredible build and I hope you guys enjoyed it. The gear set can be hard to get, but keep at it and farm the monkey and you should be able to have these pieces in no time at all. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more builds for Wulong. Let me know what you guys think of the set. I will catch you all next time.